What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Chris with the C. Hope you're all doing well. Today, guys, I want to talk about there's a little trick I think for keeping your 3S Arrmas, should we say, a little bit more bulletproof then. Last time we took a Typhon out, we basically took it off the jumps and we just enjoyed the car for what it was. As you know, I'm starting a bit of a jump series. This series is sponsored by Custom RC Upgrades, and I think what I'm going to do with the upgrades, the Lee from Custom RC Upgrades is actually put those upgrades into the Big Rock. The Big Rock we've done so much with, so I think the idea is with the Typhon is to make sure that we got it all running properly. And just basically give it a good clean up, a service, maintenance and stuff like that, and keep that really more for ground bashing, some light jumps and stuff. I was quite impressed, as I mentioned, with the Big Rock for the way it took off, and I was able to easily backflip it and so on and so forth. Now there is something that I want, or I would urge you 3S guys to do with any of your 3S cars. Now, as you know, in the Big Rock, I actually run a Custom RC Upgrades motor mount. All right, it's 7075. It's really tough. It's really served me well. There is a bit of a downfall with these cars, and that is the motor mount. I don't know what Arrma was thinking, basically, when they actually put these on production line, or whether they were actually treated in the same way us bashers would actually do. When it comes to jumping and using the car, not giving them a knock while you give them a run, that sort of thing. So, good friend of mine, and guys, we'll put a link in the description. He's got a YouTube channel himself. I'd really appreciate if you go over and have a look at his channel as well. Snorri RC, Tim. Tim has actually pointed something out, and he was a good enough guy. He noticed that the Typhon was down, and he said, well, look, I'm going to help my brother out. I'm going to send over some parts for you. I think they'll get your Typhon back up and running. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a head cam on, and I'm going to show you what he sent over. And I think, really, this will provide you, if you can't get your hands on like a custom-made motor mount, this might be a good option for you guys to keep the car running. And make sure that you don't run into the typical motor mount bending scenario that you get with the 3S cars. So head cam on, we'll have a look down on the table and I'll go from there, guys. So guys, one of the big problems obviously with the 3S cars is the motor mount. Now Arrma, obviously with the BLX cars, actually with a Mega you don't even get a metal motor mount, but with the BLX cars they provide this metal motor mount there. I don't know whether you can pick that up. Now, last time we were out, I know the sound of a spur gear stripping, and there's a good reason why this actually happens, okay? It's not to do with the mesh that you might have set or anything like that. Now, I'll show you this. What this is actually from here, guys, okay, is your 4S car. Now they use the same design for the slipper gear and obviously your input and everything else, the way your motor's mounted up and so on and so forth. But what Tim or Snorri RC has actually noticed is that the motor mount that comes with the 4S cars is actually around about 2 mil. I think it's about 2 mil, possibly 3 actually, thicker. So clearly Arrma has noticed that this motor mount bends under pressure, and they've actually rectified this with the 4S range. Now I would imagine you can pick one of these up pretty cheap. I haven't actually looked, so I'm not going to lie to you. But what I am going to do is, on my car here, I'm going to obviously take the motor module out. We'll strip it down, and then I'll show you how this is bent. Because what happens is, I don't know whether the camera will pick this up. I don't know whether you can actually see there. But see the motor shaft, right? The motor shaft is dictated vertically there by obviously the gearbox each side. So obviously you've got your input shaft there, and obviously that all stays in place because obviously you've got two mounting points. Now if you can see, the distance between there and there is actually greater this end, and what's happened is the motor has actually bent the motor plate to the right, and this is caused either by impact or so on and so forth. Now with that happening, what happens then, it puts a little bit of strain on the spur gear and actually strips your spur gear. I haven't done many of the 0.8 mods. Basically the 48 DPs are normally the ones that go on me, but the 3S spur gear can go on you. Now in the Big Rock, as you know, I'm actually running a metal spur gear, so that issue would kind of be gone away, and I'm also running the Custom RC Upgrades motor mount. Now I would recommend you getting a Custom RC Upgrades motor mount first, if you can afford it, or if you're, let's say, stateside, well, not even stateside, because I know Lee does actually send parts over to America. So, but the other option for you is that you could maybe use something like M2C, but not. But what I would say, I've had great success with Lee's motor mount. The other option, guys, as you can see, this is a used one. Now, as I mentioned, you could probably pick these up on a breaker, on eBay or something like that, and this will actually give you a better mount on your gearing. So what we're going to do, I do want to completely go over the car. I want to change all the bearings. There's a few things. It's starting to look tatty in places. I want to give it a good clean a service, make sure all the diffs are correct. We did do the diff on the front of the car last time on a live feed. And I want to get this car out. I do think I need to replace the receiver as well, because that seems to be the problem at the moment. Right guys, so off camera, as you can see, I've removed the motor module. Straight away you can actually see this spur gear is actually stripped. I kind of knew this was going to happen, so what we're going to do now is just quickly remove the screws. And then I'll also remove the motor, and we'll compare the two. Now, as I say, it's quite a common issue, this, alright? If you've not worked on any Arrma cars before, this is one of the things to look out for. Now, mesh is easy enough to do on these cars anyway, so there's no issues there. I have done a tutorial on the channel as well, showing you how to get your mesh correct. But what happens, see all the shavings inside? So what's actually happened is that motor plate is bent here and then stripped. Pinion's not looking too great, mine. Actually, no, that's fine. But look at it. So this is quite a common issue that the 3S cars have. What we're going to do now is quickly just remove the motor. We'll give everything a clean up in a second as well. And we also need to remove the pinion. I think with this one I actually put a, yeah I did, 2mm. Quite a lot of muck in here actually. There's one screw, there's the other. So remove the pinion and give all this a clean in a moment. I give all that a clean as well. Remove the bearing. check out the bearings were actually fine. So I just need to remove this now. Okay, 2mm bit. Yeah, that's fine. It's a shame basically that there's a few issues with this car. And that screw is actually round itself off. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant. I'm going to pause the video a second because I've actually got one of these spare in my toolbox, and we'll go from there. Right, so I visibly wanted to show you the differences between the two. Alright, so this is the one that comes on the car, and the way it works with Arrma is you get the mount, like so. That then fits in the gap there, and then you get the plastic surround like that. Alright, so that's the one that actually came as the BLX version. I couldn't get the screw out, so I'm going to have to source another one there. But just to give you an idea here, alright, so I don't know whether you can see that. See the way it's moving? It's not flat, it's rocking. Alright, and that is enough to kill off your spur gear. Now, to put this in perspective, there's the 4S, no rock, nice and flat, as you can see. And you can actually see the differences in size as well. Can you see the difference between the two? So what they've done, they've beefed up this one over the 3S. My guess is that's made from a different aluminium as well, because if you actually look, the anodizing is a completely different colour. So I got a feeling where they were probably outsourced these when they were making them. I don't believe Arrma would have made these. These have been made by someone. Alright, so side to side, as you can see, the 4S is actually bigger, or thicker should we say, and you can actually see that represented in that little hole there for you to get your screwdriver wrench in. But yeah, that's what happens when you get a heavy impact or you jump in. This bends. Don't know whether you can actually pick that out, but it is actually, you can visibly see it if you look hard enough, as opposed to this is the one that comes with the 4S car. So what happens is that then fits inside like so, and you can actually see the way it's not flush. You can just about pick up the lip. This will work though, alright, with your 3S car. There you go, that's a better representation there. So it is actually thicker. So I'm going to use that in the car. I'm going to replace the spur gear, and by the looks on things, probably going to replace this pinion gear as well. I'll go from there. Right guys, so off camera, what I've actually done is, as you can see, is replace the spur gear. As you can see, that one is much better than this. That one is basically just killed itself. Make sure that you drop a little bit of thread lock down inside when rebuilding your spur gear, and make sure you get your slipper pads correct. As you can see by here, I do need to readjust mine. So looks like one of my slipper pads has actually come loose. slipper pad's moved. I'm just going to loosen it off now. There you go. Make sure that's sat down inside. Okay, don't worry too much about tightening it now. All I do is hand tight and then back it off just a touch. Alright, so that is all together. I've also given this part a clean in the meantime, and I'm just going to find a screw now to actually fit in there, because the other one decided to lock itself on there, as you can see. But right, pause the video again. Right guys, so as you can see, it's all back together. You can actually see the difference in the motor plate there. Can you see how much red is showing? So it's definitely thicker. And as you can see, spur gear is all sorted. We've got the mesh perfect. I have had to put the 15 tooth pinion back in here, mind. So I've gone down 4 teeth. So I'm going to lose a bit of top end speed here. A little bit of a shame, but yeah. So the main issue for the 3S cars here, as you can see, is bending this motor plate, which is quite frankly a bit of cack. And what happens is then, as it chews up the spur gear. So fingers crossed, this should stop me now from actually destroying spur gears. See how it goes. I haven't heard anyone complaining on the 4S that spur gears going all the time, so that's a good thing. So yeah, I'll bounce back up top and we'll go from there. So guys, what do you think? It's a shame really Arrma felt that it was alright to send a car that's essentially capable of doing 55-60 mile an hour out with a piece of crap like this. Now, this isn't the first time this happened, alright? As you can see, I've got 2 of them. It happened on the Big Rock as well, and that's why I upgraded to the custom RC upgrades motor mount on the Big Rock. Was I took the car out, me and my daughter at the time, before the Typhon was a Typhon, that was actually a Vortex, as I've mentioned loads of times on the channel. She was running the Vortex, I was running the Big Rock. We only collided, it wasn't even that fast, and the motor mount actually bent, and the one on the Big Rock is actually visually worse. There's quite a curvature towards the corner edge there, and what that then does is obviously causes you to go out and actually buy another spur gear. So that was what prompted me with the Big Rock to actually go for the custom RC upgrades motor mount. And with that said, that basically I then put a metal spur gear in it, and it just snowballed from there. I thought, right, well, I need to do this, I need to do this. Now, again, massive thanks to Tim, Snorri RC guys. I will put a link in the description, obviously, where you'll be able to watch some of his videos. Really, really good guy, very knowledgeable, very, very, very down to earth, pleasant to talk to. He's very good at bashing. I think he runs a few Arrma cars. He's got a Vortex and stuff like that. He's also got a MT10, I believe, or an MT8. I'm not sure which one it is. I think it might be both, actually, to be honest with you. But long short, I don't know. It was just a bit of a downfall. And he said, look, I've got that motor mount there. Why don't you give it a go? This is a 4S one. It is visually bigger than the 3S motor mount, but you can actually feel the difference in weight, obviously, between the metal, between obviously the cheapy ones that comes with the BLX and the 4S one. So I actually haven't heard anyone complaining on any of the Arrma forums, Facebook groups and stuff like that about the 4S motor mount actually bending. So clearly Arrma has addressed an issue there. And I know obviously through iterations of using cars and stuff like that, that obviously they then look at things that have broken and try to make them right. But if you are someone like myself who runs the 3S cars, it's a bit of a downfall for you for bending motor mounts and obviously doing spur gears away. I mean, it stripped it, no problem. And like I say, that's not the first time that's happened. So anyway, it was more of a topic of concern than a tutorial, this one. I hope you enjoyed the video. A little bit of information for everyone. And make sure you check the box for more videos. Guys, keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing. Make sure you hit the notification bell for more videos going up on the channel. And until next time, guys, stay safe.